This is Casper de Nora, and you're watching the Chat with Chaps live show.
Good evening and welcome to the Midweek Live. This is the Chat with Chaps live show. Comes out every Tuesday, a little bit earlier on some occasions. But today we bring you a fantastic show. We're going to discuss the Millwall retained list. Together, we're all together today, and you can see we've got Chris Chapman again. That's 2 weeks on the trot. I don't know what's happened there. Maybe he's run out of, place to go around the world at the moment. Who knows? But it's good to have us him on the show. How you doing, chaps? You all right?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you. Looking forward to chatting about this retained list, and nice to have a little core group. It's good to see you boys tonight. Yeah,
lovely line up there. And then underneath yourself, we've got the one and only Sicilian godfather himself, Angelo. Angelo, do you speak Italian?
I do.
You do? I've just been practicing a little bit recently, so I just want to say something to you. È un penne piccolo.
Penne piccolo? Small pasta? What are you talking about?
Ah, shit. Close. How are you, Angelo? You right?
I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, good, thanks. We'll discuss the retained list soon. And over to our northern correspondent, sexy green eyes, Mr. Benjamin Green. How are you, mate? You good?
I'm all good, thanks, mate. I'm all good, thank you. Good to be back on. Good.
Excellent. So, guys, as always, we will try to keep the structure. Then we'll be led by the chat, and we'll do a bit of a Q&A afterwards. But very, very quickly, as always, we're going to go to the chat and just see who's in the house. Number one knocking on the door was Matt Richards. How you doing, Matt? Good to see you. Chris Brown, hope you're well, mate. John, good to have you on. Friend of the show, Jeff Chandler. How are you, Jeff? Hello, Tommy. How are you, mate? Good to have you with us, Connor. Oscan, good to see you. Fellow podcast panelists, Jesper, how are you? Benji, good to see you, mate. Born free, die free. Good to have you on. Wall Lion, good to see you. More regulars here. Mark Murphy, good to see you. Alex S, bang on time. Well done. Lions Roar, the lovely Rosalind. Billy Smith could be new to the show. I love the show. I'm a Liverpool fan, but Millwall are my second team. My dad's best mate was Wall, but passed away 8 years ago. Me and my 4-year-old daughter do all the Northern away games. Billy, fantastic. Cheers having you on the show. I'm glad you comment, mate. Yes, if you haven't subscribed already, Billy, make sure you do that. And good to have you.
In there, mate.
good to have you with us, mate. And cheers for that. Dave Turner, how are you, mate? Hope you're well. Simon B, evening, lads. How are you? Paul, how are you? Good to have you on board. Hassan, come on your lines. Alex says, has this made the retained list? No. I don't think he played enough games. He actually played more than enough games, didn't he, to be fair? But there we go. That's everyone in the front door. Chaps, I mean, obviously a big sort of shake-up, really. A lot of players moving on, especially under 21s. There's a lot of under 21 players that I quite admired. I know you guys did as well. And it's quite a shock to see a few of them go. I guess what we'll try and do is we'll try and look at the released players. We'll then look at the under 21s, and then we'll look at the players back from loan, and we'll discuss other things. But starting off right from the very, very top, Sean Hutchison and Murray Wallace confirmed that they've left. What's your thoughts on that, chaps?
Yeah, so I think for me, no surprises, to be honest. I hadn't played hardly at all, not even for Harris before, but obviously Alex Neil at times probably not even on the bench. So no surprises. But I think a massive thank you to those players because they are the ultimate professionals. I think they leave a gap, to be honest, not in terms of on the pitch, but off the pitch, they leave a gap. And it's one I think we'll have to address in the summer. I'm obviously referring to leadership qualities and the standards they set in the dressing room. So I was a little bit disappointed they didn't get a better send-off. I understand both points of view in the sense that if you do it for them, then maybe you have to do it for others. But I think they warrant it. The amount of games they played and some vital moments they've given to us. So no surprises, but a little bit disappointed in the way that I think the club handled their send-offs. And by the way, just one other point. Can you guys put in the chat? Obviously, complete separate subject, but someone mentioned it in the chat. This is the second week we've done a 7 o'clock for various different reasons. Mainly my fault, to be honest. Just, do you prefer the 7 o'clock or do you prefer the 8? Just want to get the viewers' opinions on that as well. But yeah, Joe, that's my take on it. Don't know what you lads think. Were you surprised with them two going, or do you think it was inevitable?
I don't know what's going first, Angelo or Ben. What's your thoughts on those two in particular that have been let go? And to Chris's point, is it right the way it was done? Should have got a better send off.
The thing is, right, is how do you give them a better send off, mate? They're not in the team, so you can't do it at the end of a game, can you? How do you do it? It's very difficult, isn't it, to give them a proper send off when they're not playing? But it is a shame. Because, Hutch, to me, is a legend, absolutely fantastic captain, brilliant captain, and in his late 20s, probably one of the best central defenders in the league, I thought he was fantastic. Muzza, again, he had that unbelievable season, didn't he, when he won Player of the Year, and he was just tremendous, wasn't he? And, again, a really not loyal servant. So I'm going to miss them both, but it is the right time, isn't it, really, for them to go on to pastures new or to go to Cambridge, should we say?
Yeah, no, you're right. And Ben, what's your thoughts? Obviously, Muzza and Hutch being big sort of part of our squad, our first team over the years. Sad to see him go, but probably maybe the right decision. But it's the way that it was done. And what's your general thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think 100% the right decision. No surprises that either of them have moved on. Firstly, before I go into anything else, I want to say thanks to both of them for their service. I think they've been excellent servants to the club. Obviously, Hutch, club captain. I think Muzza, I put a tweet out, and I think he's going to go down as someone who's not going to get the credit he deserves. Obviously, 21, 22, player of the season for us. He was excellent. Played out of position predominantly, right? He was signed as a centre-half and got turned into a left-back for us and did a great job for us for a couple of years. So I don't think he's going to get the credit he deserves. Obviously gave us some great memories of the Everton game. But yeah, look, no surprises in them leaving or moving on. Interesting where they both end up, right? Hutch is 34. How old's Muzza now? 32?
32, 33, I think.
So it'll be interesting to see where they go. Will Hutch even continue? Maybe he'll drop down to maybe a Bromley or someone like that. You never know, do you? So, look, no surprises. Like you guys, a little bit disappointed how it was done, right? They got the same picture on social media that the likes of Watmore got. And I just that doesn't sit right with me. And that's not me digging out Watmore, but look, they were two great servants for us. So I thought it could have been done a little bit better. To Angelo's point, how could we have done it? I suppose it's hard, isn't it, to come towards the end of the season because there was so much to play for. It's not like you could have brought them on for a cameo 10 minutes to get a round of applause or anything like that. So that's a little bit difficult. But I did think they should have got more.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I guess just sort of play devil's advocate a little bit. It'd be very hard at the time for the club to announce it or give them the send off the last home game of the season when you still got contracts for the likes of George Saville, George Honeyman, Danny McMara, George Evans, Lee Roberts. Yeah, the list continues, doesn't it? At the time, we didn't even know what the future was going to be with Billy Mitchell or Joe Bryan or even Wes Harding to that point. So I could kind of understand the dynamics. And yes, in an ideal world, I'm sure they would love to give them the send off, but I think it'd be very, very difficult. I mean, with Muzza, I was very, very fortunate to have him on my table for the annual awards last season. And he was a lovely, lovely guy. And there's things he sort of said to me that I couldn't really share on the pod straight away, just out of respect. And he kind of knew that he was out the door. It was a case of he weren't going to be there. And he said, look, I got to an age now, my legs are not what it used to be. I'm not as quick as I used to be. He says, not fun. His words were, it's not fun playing left back, trying to stop a young, fast winger for 60, 65 minutes, and then they sub him off and bring a fresh, fast winger for another sort of 20 minutes, half an hour. He said, it's just, I can't deal with it. And I think he knew it himself that he couldn't deal with it. I think his wife and his family are up in Manchester. So I think he sees an opportunity now to move back up to North to probably get a team in a low divisions in Manchester. And good luck to him. And a little secret here as well, which I'm sure he doesn't mind me sharing. He's actually doing a course to become a full-time referee, believe it or not. So we may see Muzzer.
He's got that look, Muzzer, isn't he? He's got that look.
That's what I thought. Yeah. And he said to me, you never know. He said, I could be back at the Den one day refereeing a game for Millwall. So there you go.
Can you imagine? I think, look, I just want to, my point of view on the send-off, I just think, I'm sure, knowing the club that we have, they will do something at some point for them. That's my perspective. I'm sure we will. Whether it's a testimonial, whether they come back, I don't know. I think another point is the way that we handled Bart. He'd already announced that he was retiring. So though whilst he wasn't necessarily in the team, it was kind of already out there. So I think there's a couple of things at play there, isn't it? But I think just want to, I think on behalf of all of us, I'm sure they're not listening, but if they are, Sean Hutchinson, Murray Wallace, absolute consummate professionals, and wish them all the best. I think, my understanding is I think they'll continue to play because Hutchie's always maintained that he doesn't want to get into coaching after, which I find really interesting given the kind of qualities that he's got as a human being, right? So be interesting to see where they go, and we wish them all the best.
Just on that, Chris, we're going back to the professional piece. Sorry, Joe, I was just going to say, the one thing that sticks out with me is Murray Wallace's as well. You always would see him after the games, and the Leeds FA Cup game sticks out to me. Whilst all the other players were obviously out after the game doing their sort of the subs like cool down bit that they do, he would be in front of all the other players by 50 yards every time, backwards and forwards. And
didn't he always win the pre-season running tests every year? I'm sure Murray won it.
Yeah,
I'm sure he did.
Yeah, he obviously he's clearly got capabilities to carry on playing. Like we're saying, he's slightly younger than Hutch, but he clearly is a very, very good pro, and it'll be a real asset to where anyone.
I think to your point there, Ben, and I said the same thing to him. I reckon he's got a good couple of seasons, at least maybe even 3, because he's such a fit lad. But it's the speed, isn't it?
What level do you think he'll play?
I'll say League One. I mean, we kind of like joked.
League One centre half, Joe. I think definitely. I'd like to see him play centre half.
And he did say that, Ben. He did say, "I don't want to play fullback anymore. I want to be back to centre half again purely because of the pace." And he hasn't got the speed anymore. Yeah, he said that. Lewis, just want to say a little hello to Lewis. Got a lovely little profile picture there, Lewis. Loving that, mate. Hope you're well.
How much did you pay him, Joe?
That is one striker that's not being retained. I tell you,
I gave him a handful of my charity bucket. It was the Cancer Research Day. But no, good to meet you that day, Lewis, and glad you're with us, mate. To your point though, Ben, I think that's where we'll see probably like League One. We talk about teams like Rochdale, Oldham, Bolton, even in those sort of areas. So I think he'll be open to all of that. So I won't be surprised if he gets something a little bit closer to that.
Do you know what I'm picturing? Right, I'm picturing that we're watching a League Two game. There's a striker going through on goal, and then all of a sudden, Muzzer, the referee, just overtakes him.
Yeah, it's true though. He'll be fitter than some players, wouldn't he?
He will.
Unbelievable. Stay with yourself, Andrew, for a second. There are other players that have been released, and we'll talk about Connolly in a second. But first of all, Duncan Watmore, Angelo. I mean, what do you what do you make of his time with us as a player? Been with us for a few seasons. Is it a shock to you to see him go? You think it's the right move for him and for us? And just some words really about his time with us as a player.
Yeah, I think it's the right time, mate. I think with the forward players that we've brought in, I think he would have struggled to get in the team anyway, mate. Yeah, recently started struggling with injuries. Listen, nice guy. I think he's very, very popular within the group, within the team. You could see that by some of the good buys that he got. So obviously he was a great squad member. But yeah, I think the time's right, mate. And I don't personally think he would have got in our team next season. So yeah, thanks, and I wish him all the best, mate. Yeah, a great start to last season, but then it just petered out, didn't it?
It did nosedive. Ben, what's your thoughts on Watmore? Right move for him and for us?
Yeah, 100%. I think right for both. More so us, I would say. I think, again, to Angelo's point now, I just think we're going to be looking at younger models and, more importantly, probably fitter. Because for every 5 games you get with Duncan Watmore, you miss 10 to 15, right? And I think that's been his biggest Achilles heel. I think he obviously struggled at Sunderland. He got a bad injury, and I think he just can't keep himself fit long enough for us now. Again, I think I could see him certainly in a top half League One side and doing a really good job down there. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. He's got to stay fit. But yeah, right move for us and him.
Yeah, and Chris, I guess Watmore's always been a bit of an impact player. We question, has he got especially last season, has he got the legs to sort of do 90 minutes? And I think he struggled to even do 65 minutes last season. Although they did look a little bit fitter for the start of the season, but it kind of like died out. But what's your thoughts? Any kind of final thoughts on Watmore before we kind of move on? I'd love to get your thoughts on him.
Yes, mate. I think it says a lot that every club he's been at, when he's left, no one said a bad word about him. And I think that's a lot to his character. And obviously what we said there around what the group have said since he's left. So again, another player, and going back to what I think we're going to need to address in the summer is, and this is making no assumptions on Honeyman and Sab because we don't know. We have lost core members of this group, and a group that is quite clearly a fantastic one. So I think that's one thing to consider. I think the second thing is, let's not forget that at the start of the season, and up until I think arguably even 2/3 of the season, he was our top scorer. I know it wasn't the particularly high numbers, but he was. So I agree with everything everyone said. I can see him popping up in a Northern League One side. I know he's got family connections with Millwall, but let's be honest, he's a Northern lad, isn't he? So he'll be playing, I'm sure, somewhere next season. North, probably a club in League One. And again, wish him all the best, but it's probably the right decision for all parties.
Just to Billy's point there, the last time he played for us was the 5-1 loss at Plymouth.
Right, okay. There you go. That's going back some time.
He was obviously held
accountable.
Yeah, he was made the scapegoat for that that one. Yeah. But moving on. Obviously, we wish Watmore all the best. Thank you for your service to the club. And to Chris's point, fans do talk very highly of him wherever he's been, but also players. You talk about the players in this club, and they all absolutely love him. They all say what a funny guy he is and how good he is in the dressing room. So he's definitely a good egg. Sorry to see him go, but hopefully he'll get more first-team football next season. Ben, we'll start with you this time. Just want to get your thoughts on Aaron Connolly's exit from the club. Obviously, he had a bit of a stop-start season. Started off quite bright, looked quite good, but then he kind of sort of weighed off the side a little bit. What's your thoughts on the decision and also his contribution to us this season?
One of the most disappointed that I've been with how it's ended with a player in recent times for me. I can vividly remember Angelo and I doing a show. I think it was a transfer window roundup. It would have been just after the Luton game, I think, or sorry, the whole game and then the Luton game would have been, and we had a chat about the stick he got for the Luton game. People were saying he was overweight and didn't look good, and there was a bit of a divided opinion on that and whether he did look good enough at times. Anyway, but yeah, vividly remember doing the show with Angelo, and I said, sign him up now. He's got real quality. You can see he just needs to get a bit fitter, but he's got he's going to add a lot of technical ability to this side, and he's just completely fizzled out, hasn't he? Am I surprised he's gone? Absolutely not. You could probably tell by at the end of the season, there was a lot of social media stuff that the players were putting out. Thanks for the year and the season they all had. And I think he put out something on Instagram where he was on holiday already. So
yeah,
it was obvious.
Literally, it was on the final day, wasn't it? Almost, yeah.
Yeah. Literally, I think it might have been the Sunday, right, the day after the game, and all the players say it was all great season, can't wait for next year, that sort of stuff. And he put a picture of him on holiday. But look, really disappointed with how it finished. To be honest, mate, as I say, it seemed to me there was real quality in there. It's been well publicised, his stuff off the pitch. We don't know if that's still a thing, but the fact that he did fizzle out in the way that he did, maybe it still is. But disappointing for me. I thought he would have added real quality to the side, but obviously not.
Can I jump in there as well?
Yeah, so we'll go to you next. Go on, mate, go on.
So, Dan's point there that you can see in the chat around...
I left that on purposely for you.
So, real bad egg. Now, I honestly know nothing, right? And maybe this is just the way the group are and that they champion every single person. But when he announced he was leaving, a lot of the Millwall players put really nice comments on So, you know, I don't know. Can you read into that to say he wasn't a bad egg? I don't know. I've got no knowledge on that. The only other thing I would say that hasn't been said would be that I actually think this was decent business by the club in terms of bring him in. He was going to play more than Bradshaw probably was, probably on similar wages. I don't know, right? But hazard a guess. Short-term contract. It didn't work out. Fine, right? And we move on. So I actually think that was quite sensible business by the club to bring him in, test the waters, and hasn't worked out. That probably frees up, 10, 15 grand a week going into next season. So I'm okay with it. And clearly a very, very, very good player in there. And what it's going to take to bring that out of him, I don't know. But we'll see where he pops up next.
Yeah, I think we can't argue his technical capabilities. I mean, God, he was a Premiership player at one point and a promising youngster coming through. But Angelo, I think it was clear to see that just by how you look aesthetically, you know, at times you see him coming on, you can see like it's carrying a little bit of extra timber. I mean, he made me look like bloody Linford Christie, you know, played for the over 40s when I put my kit on, you know, compared to Aaron Connolly, sadly.
Steady on, Joe.
What? Okay. But yeah, you get my point, don't you, Angelo? Like sometimes you've got an opportunity there to shine, you've got an opportunity to kind of reignite your career. And I don't think he really sort of took it, you know. And to Chris's point, players liked him and they all like, but I guess you would like someone who's a bit of a, I'm not saying he's a party animal, but someone who's probably a little bit out there, likes going out, enjoying himself.
Obafemi was popular, Joe. Do you remember?
Yeah.
The players loved him, but apparently
he's
an absolute nightmare to manage and doesn't turn up to training, right?
Yeah.
So I guess being popular with the lads and being popular with a manager are maybe two different things.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Angelo, go on. What's your thoughts on that of what you just said?
Yeah, do you know what? I made some little notes on all the players, right? And beside Connolly's name, I've just put such a shame. It's such a shame because the guy is undoubted, has got lots and lots of quality, lots and lots of ability, but obviously has a problem in his head, which unfortunately is stopping him. You know, when he made his debut, he looked completely unfit. I remember he come on, I thought, my God, he don't look good, this guy. But the next 2-3 games, he was superb, mate. You know, when he come on against Luton, when he come on for Scanlon, changed the game. Yeah, changed the game. So it's such a shame because without a shadow of a doubt, there is a very, very, very good player there. But really, will he waste his career? You know, can he get the help that he requires to mentally become a professional footballer? And that's what it's all about. But yeah, it's a shame, mate. But again, you know, if you can't get him right, then you've got to let him go, which is a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah. Again, we wish Aaron Connolly all the best. He scored a couple of goals for us. Was it one or two? I'm sure he had a nice little side foot one, bottom right and corner once, didn't he, at the Den?
I think just the one goal he got. Yeah, just the one.
Just the one goal.
Just on Connolly, Joe, where do we think he'll end up? We sort of said everyone else. Where do we think he'll get another championship gig? Or
I mean, when he, I don't know. You think he's capable of playing the championship, but he needs to get his head right, doesn't he? You know, so whether he'll be in the championship or whether he actually takes a step down another division and builds up his fitness and his mindset and then come back up again. I don't know what you guys think.
Do you know I can see signing him, right? Charlton.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah,
explain, right?
Yeah.
So he clearly wants to be in this area. If Dan's comment in the chat is right, that he loves a drink in Brighton. And Nathan Jones comes across such an arrogant what's-it that he probably thinks he can fix him. Yeah. So whether they're in League One next year or the Championship, I can just see it, mate. I really can. I no knowledge, of course, but I can just see that. Ben, why made you know that I was going to say
I don't know. I just knew you were going to say Charlton. I was trying to think in my head of the clubs in League One that would sign him, and I was like, I could see him and Nathan Jones. That's what I had in my head. So I just knew you were going to say Charlton.
Cheers to that, Billy. Appreciate all the support I can get. This will probably last for a while, so cheers for that, mate. But yeah, good luck to him, Connolly, and seemed like a really, really nice guy. I mean, there's a few players I spoke to who said Aaron's a really, really nice guy. Good player to have in there. So yeah, hopefully he finds the right club for him. And I think someone mentioned it in the chat earlier. It just frees up more wages to bring more players in next season, doesn't it? So I'm all for it. So that is the players that are out. Now there are certain players that are in talks of new contracts at the moment, and I want to start with yourself now, Chris, on this one. And we'll go from individually. I want to get your thoughts whether you would want to extend the contract. Obviously, they've got to agree to the contract. It could be on reduced terms for some of these players. But just from the general outset, can you make a case for George Saville? Should we or should we not offer him a contract? And how important is it to keep him in the squad?
So I think if a deal can be done, we should absolutely keep Sav. And I want to. My opinion is we should keep him. Now, you've got to find the right balance between. I again don't know, but I would imagine he's in the top quartile in terms of earners, right? Now, if we're going to progress as a football club, do you want Sav starting every week? To be honest, I love Sav, but probably not. So therefore, you've got to balance out what we're paying him versus the game time, but also versus what he brings from a leadership perspective and off the pitch. And then that's from our perspective. From his perspective, he's like, well, I haven't got long left. I want to play. I want to play games. And, so I think there's a lot that goes into the pot. But I think if a deal can be done where we're not paying, he's not in the top 3 or 4 earners, and it's a deal that suits us and suits him, I would love to have him here, because I think as much as Cooper is the captain, and he, from what I hear, he is phenomenal off the pitch, Jake Cooper. And there's a lot of things that people don't see. But to me, on the pitch, it's Sav. And when you see the role that he played towards the back end of the season, crucial games, what he's brilliant against, what was the game I thought he was outstanding? He wasn't bad at Burnley, to be fair. But
he was like Beckham. His set pieces that day were unbelievable. I think it was Norwich, Chris.
That was it, mate.
Yeah.
That was it. Phenomenal. Yeah. He has got a role to play for me. And I would love him to be at the club next season. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Cheers assessment there, Chris. I agree with you 100% what you just said there, but I'd love to get Angelo's thoughts on it. Angelo, what's your thoughts on Sav?
I actually think Sav is probably one of our most important signings that we need to make, mate, without a shadow of a doubt. Because, like Chris said earlier, losing Muzzer, losing Hutch, mate, we're losing some big characters. Sav, you can just see it whenever there's a goal scored, right? He's in the centre. He's the one cuddling the players. All the players run to him. He is really our captain. We all know that. And I think it's essential that we sign him up, mate. But I agree what Chris said. Is he can't play every single game. I think he realises that. And I think towards the end of the season, I think Alex Neil worked it quite well. Giving him a game, giving him a rest, bringing him on as a sub. It was working perfect, mate. And
Angelo, sorry, mate. Question on for that. I agree with exactly what you said, but working well for us or for Sav? I think that's the thing. Like, does Sav want to play more than that?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Well, that's the tough one, mate. But we know that he loves the club. His family love the club. But yeah, that's down to Sav, isn't it, mate? That's really. I hope he stays. I pray he stays.
Yeah. Ben, coming to you next. Obviously, I love Hassan's message here. So he said, keep Sav. He can play the Alex Pearce role in the dressing room. If you remember last season when Alex Pearce was with us, and they thought how important it was to have him in the changing room. He didn't play much, but he was a big part. I don't think Sav is quite to that extreme, Ben. I think he's still got a bit in him. They could offer us a bit, but I'd love to get your thoughts on Sav and whether you would keep him here next season.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I don't think I can add a huge amount more than what the guys already have. Totally agree with them. I think from a leadership standpoint, have to keep him. And I think you saw at the back end of the season what I think now will be his role. And I actually do think for a long time, barring injuries that we had, probably would have been his role throughout the season. I think he's going to be that half an hour type player, play the midweek game full 90 minutes. You're not going to see him play 90 minutes now week in, week out. And I think that's going to be his role. To Chris's point, will Sav be happy with that? Hopefully he wants to stay in the championship. But from a leadership and off the field perspective, have to keep him 100%.
Excellent. My take on it, there's 3 things really did it for me. One, we talk about his leadership and how important it is. I think he's so important to the younger players coming through. I never forget, and Chris, you were with me if you remember at the time, it was end of season awards, not the last one before. And everyone's having a beer, having a drink and all that. And then we were chatting to the youngsters. There was a Imarku, Essay at the time, and Norton Cuffy.
Joe was getting their dad's numbers.
I was getting their dad's numbers. And anyway, he comes over and a real stern face, and he goes to them, "You've been drinking. You've been drinking," to the boys. And they were like, no, I'm not drinking, And then Mark, who joked around, went, Romain just had a beer. He's like, what? He's like, I didn't. I swear I didn't. And he was like, really shitting himself. And I was just cracking up laughing. I thought it was fucking brilliant. But you can see how he's looking out for them, how he wouldn't make sure they're doing the right thing. Another point, on the Casper Denoy interview done recently, we asked a question about who you're playing with and blah blah blah, and he mentioned how important Saville is on the pitch. And I asked him why, and he said little things like when we're playing, he tells us when to press. If he feels we're being overturned by the other team, he'll tell us, no, sit back, sit deep, let's contain them for a bit, and then he'll say, right, now let's go. And he kind of manages them on the pitch. And these are the things us fans don't get to see. We just watch it. We don't actually see. But he talks to them. He actually guides them and he manages them actually on the pitch, which can only help lift the players around him. Now, to your point and everyone else's point here, I can't see him doing, 70 minutes, let alone 90 minutes. So how we use him, I personally would rather him come on last 10, 15 minutes, especially if we're 1-0 up and we need him to come in there, kind of coach the team, settle the ship a little bit, I think that's how he could probably add value. But yeah, I agree with all you guys, what you said there. I'd love to get a contract sorted out for him. Next player on the list, and I think we're coming to you next, Angela. I think to start this one off, is George Honeyman. I'd love to get your thoughts on George Honeyman.
Joe, I think we need to go to Chris because I think Chris has got to shoot soon. So let Chris cover this one first, and then.
Sorry, go on, Chris.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, sorry, I've got to jump off. But Honeyman. So my position on Honeyman, and I've seen some of the things in the chat. I'll be honest, I'd keep Honeyman. I would. Now I want to be really clear. Priority order: Sav is above Honeyman. So if I had to keep one, I'd keep Sav. But I think there is a role to play for Honeyman. And let me justify that opinion. I think, number one, every manager picks him. Every manager. In some capacity. That's number one. Number two, his versatility. He can play pretty much anywhere. He can play not necessarily well everywhere, but he'll do a job, right? He is a solid 6 out, 7 out of 10 every single week. That's two. Number three, his availability. Very rarely injured. And when he is, he's back very quickly. In actual fact, he's back earlier than expected. And then number four, I know for a fact that he's incredibly popular in the dressing room again and has those leadership qualities. So for all of that, I'm happy to produce this in a PowerPoint deck if required, right? But all of that, say, yes, I would keep Honeyman. But Sav over Honeyman for me.
Interesting.
So, Chris, before you go, why don't you cover Danny Mac, Roberts, and Evans? Because they're the ones that are in talks, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, Danny Mac. I think Danny Mac is Millwall through and through, and as a defensive right back, assuming he comes back the same player, he's more than adequate.
Or left back cover as well.
Or left back cover, but I've heard Alex Neil say he likes left footers at left back and right footers at right back. So I don't actually see that happening. I could be wrong. As harsh as it may sound, I think if we want to progress, I don't think we can have two right backs as Leonard and as Danny Mac, if I'm being really honest. However, given the situation that Danny's found himself in, I think he deserves a year's deal. I really do. I think he's a top bloke, and I would give him a year's deal. So that's Danny Mac. Liam Roberts, I don't know, mate. I don't know where his head's at. I think you've got to know what's going on with him personally, because he's just disappeared off the face of the earth, right? And I don't actually know the situation with him. I don't know if he's injured or what. So I can't comment on Liam Roberts, if I'm being honest.
Just on that, Chris, just whilst I know you've got to go quickly, but just directing it back to you about Roberts. Surely that we've just protected him as the club, right? We've taken him out the firing line. Hopefully it dies down for next year. Surely that's what's happened. We're only assuming that, right? But surely that's how it's been seen.
Possibly, mate. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you'd like to think, and the club have done well with that. So if that's the case, then yes. But yeah, we need a number one until what, December, January time, roughly. So is that Roberts? I don't know. If it's not, we certainly need another goalkeeper. And then that leads me on to George Evans. Absolutely no brainer to get him a contract. I think when you when you think about the impact he had in the team, for me personally, he should be loaned out next year. And that's actually because I want him to play first team football. I don't want him to be a second or third choice or to play in the under 21s regularly. I think he's got to play, and I think he's demonstrated that he can play. So, you know, a League One or a high-end League Two club where he's the number one for a season, I think is the next phase in his development. But he should absolutely get a contract.
Spot on. Excellent. Cheers, mate. And obviously appreciate everything. Are you right to stay a bit longer, or you got to shoot, or you good?
I can stay. Yeah, I can stay a few more minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. And Joe, just want to go back to George Honeyman. What's your thoughts on George?
Yeah, again, I'm really big on this, Joe. Where I like to have the experienced guys around the squad. Again, I don't want Honeyman starting every game next season, but I'm more than happy for him to be involved. You know, the comment someone put, you know, Honeyman is our Swiss Army knife. He is, isn't he? He can play so many. He can do so many little jobs. And again, he is important to the younger players. So yeah, I would keep him for one more season, Honeyman. I would, but I wouldn't start him every day.
Cool. Ben, what's your thoughts on George Honeyman?
Yeah, again, 100% for me. Might be an unpopular opinion, that one, but yeah, for me, 100%. I think I've said this a million times, I'd like to see him play in that deeper midfield position. His versatility, as Chris said, is priceless because he can play in so many different positions. His injury record is pretty good, again, like what Chris said. But yeah, for me, 100%. Every club would love a George Honeyman. It's now time for him to take a step back again. It's kind of like the Sav position, really, in terms of he's not going to be our starter every week. He will play maybe a start a midweek game and then have half an hour on a Saturday when we need him, that sort of thing. And I think that's where we are now in that transition period of these guys were starters for us for a long period of time. We're now moving beyond them. And yeah, but I think we have to keep him.
Yeah, excellent. Obviously, fantastic points made from all of you guys. I can't really add much to that other than just sort of piecing it all together with my evaluation to say, look, you're right. He can play a number of positions. I think in this current squad with everyone fit, does he start? I don't think he starts, you know. Cheers, Chris. Take care, mate. You going?
Yeah, see you later, lads.
Thanks,
All right,
mate.
everyone.
Take care. Cheers. See you next week. Yeah, he could play a number of positions. So important to have that kind of cover as well. But if everyone being fit, I don't see him getting into the team. How he feels about that, whether he's happy being a squad player, is down to him. You know, I don't know how old he is. I'm guessing he's like 28, 29 maybe, I'm thinking. So he's probably getting to the peak of his career now where he might want to be playing first team football. We know that players really love him. Every time I've met him, he's always been very, very charismatic, lovely sort of talk to. You know, and he's just a good player. I think he can play, like I said, you know, effective for us in games where we need him to kind of see out games, come on last 10, 15 minutes. You know, the energy he has in midfield, the way he kind of, you know, wins the ball, challenges the ball, works hard for the team, tracks back. Yeah, he's a good player to have in your squad. But again, I think it's down to the player whether he wants to be a first team player or whether he wants to be a squad player. But either way, it'd be interesting how that one pans out.
A question, Joe, just on that. Sorry,
yes,
mate. A question on all of these players, right? But I think Honeyman, this applies to more than most, is could we go to market and get someone like Honeyman on a free transfer on similar wages that would have as much of an impact? And what I mean by that, do we know they're going to be a good egg? Do we know they're going to be available all the time? Do we know how versatile they are? I wouldn't have thought so. There's not that many George Honeymans out there. I know people are going to be like, that's mad.
Let me ask you a question, right? If at the start of the season, last season, you had a choice of having either Honeyman or Connolly, who would you pick?
Oh.
Without seeing Connolly play for us, but you think Connolly's a better player technically, yeah?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So you would say, okay, you would argue, you know what, I'll let go of Honeyman. I think we can bring Connolly in. He could do a better job, more technical player. But then you see what Connolly does for us. And although we had high expectations, he hasn't quite delivered because he hasn't been consistent. He hasn't been fit enough to play for us. Whereas Honeyman, you kind of know what you get a little bit. Week in, week out. You know, we said before, he's never going to be a 10 out of 10, but he'll give you a 7 out of 10 most weeks. He might nick a goal. He might get an assist here and there, but he'll give you his all. And he's a good player, a good egg to have in the dressing room. So I would say sometimes, is it worth twisting and then get something worse than what you've got, you know? And I think, again, it comes down to what the player wants a little bit. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I think that's the point, right? That's what I'm trying to say. I think if 18 months ago, 2 years ago, would I vote Connolly over Honeyman 100%? Who would I pick now? Honeyman all day of the week. So
yeah, true. Good point. Angelo, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think Ben nailed it right at the death, mate. Yeah, we switch them. Yeah, yeah. I would have said Honeyman first, but I would have said Connolly at first. Now I'm saying Honeyman. I'm the same.
Yeah, excellent. So who was next to answer the first question?
Danny Mack.
Yeah, Danny Mack. Who wants to go?
Danny Mack, right? I'm obviously he's one of our own. Yeah, he's had a shit season because he got so injured. But is he good enough? That's my big question. Is Danny Mack good enough? He's got the aggression. Has he got the attack side to his game? But let's give him one more year. I'd say. Let's see how he comes back.
Also, to that point, Angelo, do we know what he's going to be like after he recovers from his knee operation? It's a massive injury. It's a very, very serious injury. A lot of players sometimes don't come back from it properly. So again, you've got to factor that in as well, don't you, Angelo?
Yeah. And also, is Tanganga going to stay? Is Kramer going to stay at right back? If he is going to stay at right back, there's Lenny in front of Danny Mack. There's a lot of bits and pieces, isn't there?
It's a very, very tough one. I don't know what your thoughts on Danny Mack, Ben. Just factor everything. Factor, what he can bring to the table, the injury, how he fits into our squad.
I'm going to just change it up a little bit here. I think I'm going to go with I would release Danny Mack. And the reason for that is part to what Angelo's just said and part to what Chris said earlier. And I think I've seen it in the comments as well. If we're serious about making a playoff push next year, can we go into that season with Ryan Leonard and Danny Mack as our two main right backs? I'm not sure. And I think now, if we really want to have a go, I think we need more athleticism in that position. And I think they're too similar. That's probably been a bit harsh on Ryan Leonard, actually. But I just think, again, where do I see Danny Mack? Does he get in many other championship sides? I don't know. Could I see him at a top-end League One side? Yeah. I get all the points. He's one of our own. I love Danny. He's obviously had a horrendous injury, which hasn't helped. But I think we need to move on from Danny. And
to your point there, I think Chris's point earlier as well is, look at Ben the Beaver, 32. We need a right back that's attacking. I wouldn't re-sign Danny. And it's such a shame, because, I don't know Danny Mack. I've seen him around. I've seen him engaging with fans and talking to people. I heard people that know him and talk very highly of him. And he seems like a really nice guy. He seems like he's Millwall through and through, and I love his tackling. When he's in 1v1 situations defending and trying to get around him, he's on his day, he's brilliant.
I think he was one of the best, right? When he was in form.
A bit like Leonard. But to your point and to Chris's point, if we're going to move forward as a club, do we want two fullbacks that are very similar, that don't quite give us the options going forward as an attacking threat? But by keeping Danny, by keeping Leonard, we're almost kind of like standing still. We're not moving forward, are we, a little bit? Yeah. And that's the sad part of that. Now, if they see Danny Mack as somebody who could offer cover, and I'm thinking more of a third choice cover. I know it sounds quite harsh what I'm saying there, but look, hear me out. Let's say we've got Joe Bryan as a left back, right? We've got the option of, say, Leonard on the right hand side. Now, if we bring, say, Sturge back, so we've got two good players battling for left back position. I still think, and to what you guys say, I think we need a good right back that's going to test Leonard and probably give more than what he could give us going forward. So by doing so, you kind of got four fullbacks to either side, but then you've got Danny Mack that could offer us cover if either of two. How often does that happen? We have two fullbacks be out injured to have that other cover. It happened with Cranmer when he came in, didn't it? He covered as first place. So you've got to factor that in as well. And then there's also, Angelo, the situation with Cranmer, because if we keep Tanganga, and I'm sure Coops is going to play alongside him, where does Cranmer then fit in? Does he then take the right back spot? If he does take it, then that leaves Leonard as cover, which probably might suit Leonard at his age at the moment. I think he's 32. And that pushes McNamara out further. But then we still haven't then gone out and signed right back, have we, Angelo? That's going to push us up the pitch and give us crosses and give us more attacking options.
It's a really difficult one, mate, because last season we was all saying it. Leonard is the best right back in the Championship. Yeah,
last season or season before?
Last
season before.
Yeah.
One
When he won the Player of the Year, didn't he?
The one before lost, not last season.
Yeah, the one before.
The year.
Yeah, the one before. Yeah, like we was all saying, the guy's unbelievable. Now, the first 6 months of the season, Lenny didn't get injured at all, didn't he? He was playing well. You know, I hear that he's got all the equipment at home.
Well, didn't we? Yeah.
You know, I've heard he's got all the new equipment at home where he's really serious about his recovery, and it's obviously helps his performances. I genuinely believe if he can stay fit, I think we can get another really, really good season out of Lenny, which makes me question mark Danny Mack again. And obviously, we've then got the situation Tanganga, Kramer, where they're going to play. But that's why I don't want to let Danny Mack go. There was a comment in there. It would be good to see Danny Mack under Alex Neil. Alex Neil's good at making players better. It'd be nice to see what Alex Neil can do with a fit Danny Mack. So I'll probably keep them both, mate. I'll keep them both for one more season, both of them.
Yeah. Just going back a comment, Joe, something that I said.
Which one?
It was about Danny Mack would get snapped up. I'm not that sure, Jonathan. I don't know. I don't know where he would go. Would he?
Well, QPR going to pay $2 million a couple of years ago, Ben.
That was the rumour.
That was the rumour, wasn't it? Was that just agent talk to obviously push through the new contract? We don't know, but they obviously wanted, rumoured to have wanted him. I just don't know. I'm very. We need to move on, right? That's my opinion. Or we've got to have ambitions to move on. I think having Danny and Ryan Leonard is just too similar.
And again, Ben, as Ben Beaver said here, Leonard was never the best going forward, defensive solid though, and we know we can do defensively, and I still think now, at his age, I think he'll still be a player being very difficult for any wingers to get past. I think if he's fit and we manage him well, I think he'll do a good job for us. But again, do we want to be a team or a club that's going to be set up defensively, just not get beat? Or do we really want to utilise the players like we've got like Negley, Aziz, Bangura Williams in the 10, let's say, Ivanovic firing, and take it to that teams and start playing a bit more attacking football? I'm not worried too much about what's going the other way, but kind of push on. And I feel while you still got players like Leonard at right back and defensive kind of minded fullbacks, I think you're still kind of inviting pressure. And I feel there's games when there's been so much space down that right-hand side and we never really utilised the overlap when we had the inverted wingers coming in and we didn't really use that space. And the last fullback we had that did that very, very well was Brooke Norton-Cuffy. But unfortunately, he was playing at a time, predominantly under Harris, because I think he went to the 4-4-2 because we were playing a 3-5-2 when Rowett was in charge, where he was having to defend. And that wasn't quite his forte. But I don't believe he had Tanganga next to him, I don't recall. So that was probably a reason why he didn't get that kind of that cover behind him.
Yeah. And Joe, do you know something as well, mate, right? If we're all saying we want to progress, we want to move forward, we want to go to the next stage, Cromer, excellent, right? But my God, that was that game when he had about 2-3 chances, mate.
Yeah.
Like, the 2-3 chances, he was like literally one-on-one with the goalkeeper and he fluffed them all, We need attacking wing-backs going to score a couple of goals. Do you know what I mean? Like that that guy that Palace have got is just incredible, isn't it? That Nunes guy. If we could find a guy that was like not as good as him, but that sort of player. Do you know what I mean?
Can get up and down and
and assists, goals.
Get assists and goals. Yeah. Exactly. And that's what we're lacking,
Jim mentioned it, Joe, as well. We are after, it was rumoured in January, right, that we were after that Middlesbrough right back. I can't remember his name, the Dutch fella.
I've heard bad things about him, though, Ben. I've heard bad reports about him.
Don't know anything about him, really, Angelo, but obviously we were rumoured in January that we were going to get him in, like it was going to be our last signing, wasn't it? And then I think there's still rumours of that, whether there's any legs, but I think he's quite an athletic fullback from what I've seen. What he's like, no idea.
Yeah, and also I'd be interested to get your thoughts, and also in the chat, if you don't mind replying to this one, is if Danny Mack wasn't a Millwall, youth player coming through and all the rest of it, would we be having this conversation now about whether we should keep him on or not, or whether we would just release him?
I think this would be unanimous. I'd be surprised
so?
if it's not. I'd be surprised if it's not.
Yeah. You as well, Angelo.
We're loyal to our own, mate. There's no two ways about it.
So is that the only reason why we're having this debate for? Is purely for the fact that he is a Millwall player. It is unfortunate what happened to him last season, and therefore the club are trying to do right by him by giving him the opportunity to stay for one more year. Maybe would you say?
But Joe, he's a great tackler, a great defender.
Yeah, great defensive. Yeah,
he's aggressive. He does them tackles that lifts the crowd. That get.
Which is a dying breed now at Mill, isn't it? You don't really get that. We don't get any football full stop, do you? Yeah.
Because sadly, he had that one freak game where he scored 2 goals in one game. Apart from that, he's never been an attacking threat whatsoever, has it?
No, exactly. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Again, I keep going back to it. We want to evolve forward. What's that? Doesn't fit the model.
No, the one before that, Dick's Insider.
His name, Ben, Dick's Insider. But yeah, again, we want to move forward. We want to evolve. I just feel that we're desperately crying out for a good attacking right back. And people could say, "Oh, Cranmer can do the job." He could do a job, but he's not a fullback. He's not a natural fullback. He's not a natural attacking fullback. We want somebody that's going to take their fullbacks on, get to the byline, get crosses in, make things happen.
Joe, you're coming up to the comments in a minute, right? The Charlton geezer is that guy. Do you know that? I've really.
Is that him? Thierry Small.
Yeah. This guy, this guy can do it all. He can defend. He's fast,
really,
and he create. And mate, he's got some stupid stat about putting the most crosses in for any player in League One last season. Yeah,
well, this is what I'm saying. This is what we need.
He's a left back though, right?
No, he's
everyone's
right back.
Everyone's saying it. Look, he could play. Apparently, he could play right back and left back.
Left back.
Well, apparently he could play right back or left back. Tommy says here. But again, lots of people coming in for Thierry Small at the moment.
But it's whether Charlton go up or not. If Charlton go up, they might keep him. But
yeah, again, look, everyone's saying it. So really, really interesting. Okay, next on the list, guys, is Liam Roberts. Ben, what's your thoughts on Liam Roberts? We definitely need a keeper. We need to sign a couple because Jens ain't going to be fit until at least December, January. From the sounds of it.
I would keep him. I think he did enough in the cup games where we saw him to warrant his place. Listen, I think it is, again, to what Chris said, it's going to be how his head is. And my opinion, as I said earlier, we can only assume that the club took him out the firing line for that back end of the season because of everything that was happening. And hopefully next year it's going to be forgotten about. The fact that we've offered him a contract would tell me he's doing all right in terms of mentality. But yeah, in terms of it,
Ben, can I ask you? Do you think that wasn't true about him being injured?
You don't know, mate. I would assume they may have thought that it would have hindered the club's chances of getting the playoffs more. It was another little bit of added pressure, right? With him playing, he would have got all the stick under the sun with him starting. So maybe they just took him out the firearm. That's just my opinion. So whether it was true or not. But listen, we're in a position where we probably have to re-sign him. Joe, Chris mentioned it earlier, Joe, with Evans. I don't think we can send him out on loan until we get someone in.
Right, yeah.
Are we going to probably only look to get someone in on loan? We're not going to look to probably buy someone because Jensen will be coming back. So does it make more sense just to keep Evans, re-sign Roberts, and then, maybe get an emergency loan in? I don't know. So, but long-winded answer, mate. I would keep him. Yeah,
good stuff. And Angelo, what's your thoughts on?
So, Joe, I'll cover both the goalkeepers now. I disagree with Chris. I don't think we can send Evans out on loan. I think he has to stay as number 2, mate. He's had 3, 4, 5 games, whatever it is. Great experience in some big atmospheres. Yeah.
You say stay number 2, but that's at the moment that potentially could mean Jensen out injured and Evans being our only goalkeeper next season if we don't sign.
I'm presuming we keep Roberts. Yeah, I would make Roberts number 1. Yeah. I get a bit confused by it all. Right. So, what are we protecting? Are we protecting away fans are going to give Roberts a bit of shit? Yeah, is that what it is? They're going to boo him every now and again.
I don't know about you. I don't. Sorry, go on, Ben.
No, I was just saying I would have thought it may have just been that, and they might have just taken him out of the firing line because we were near the playoffs, right? And they might have thought he might have got a bit of stick, might have hindered his performance. I don't know
because my opinion on that, right, it's going to wear off. Yes, he might get a few boos or whatever, but every boo that he gets, you know what Millwall fans are like. We'll just be singing his name louder, to give him the support. Now, mate, we all remember what Cantona done. Cantona kicked some geezer in the head in the stands, right? When he come back, he got a bit of stick, but then people forget about it, mate. They forget about it, and you just continue. The thing with me about Roberts is that every time he's played, he's never made a mistake. He saved. He saved 1 or 2 penalties. He's been fantastic, mate. He's a great age, and I'd make him number 1 and just crack on, and Evans number 2. And we do need to obviously bring a youngster in because obviously we lost the other 2 young goalkeepers, didn't we? But I'll keep them both, mate. But I wouldn't send out Evans on loan. I'll keep him around the first team.
Angelo, Mill Jim agrees with you. So he's saying Roberts will be number 1. I'll be happy with that. Evans number 2. Dave Turner was at the awards. He said Liam was on my table at the awards. He said he was injured. I'm not going to doubt him. So there you go. But I also remember ZM Fleming telling me in Spain that he was injured, and then like 2 weeks later he fucked off to Burnley. So I don't know. Who knows? But I agree with you guys. I would love to see Robert stay. I think. I think that press is going to die out sooner or later, And let's be honest, what he did is an accident. I think even every away fan can see that, It's not like he's done something naughty or was caught fucking, I don't know, shagging some bird or whatever, or you know what I mean, like been a sex pest. That's not the case. What he did was a freak accident, And
it would also help if Mateta stops wearing that stupid fucking mask. He's still wearing a mask for a little
exactly.
For fuck's sake.
Exactly. And what was really weird?
What do you expect with them lot, mate? Minges.
Yeah.
He actually wore a plaster the first day he come out, and then from a plaster he ends up fucking putting a massive head guard on.
While he's still wearing that mask, people are going to still remember it. The
exactly.
Mask needs to go, do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, let's hope with the summer out the way, a new season, I'm sure that mask will be way gone. But I'd love to see Liam Roberts. And I guess, did you touch on Evans?
Evans, give him a contract, keep him as number 2, mate.
Yeah.
And then
100% again, mate. Listen, he was excellent. Every save he made at Burnley was cheered like a goal, right? And he got some great experience towards the back end of the season. Just to add a little bit to Evans, do I see him his long-term future with us? Maybe not, but 100%. He has to be re-signed just because of our current keeper situation.
I just think Roberts is just a bit. Evans is just a bit small.
Yeah, size would be my worry.
And the trouble is, he's at an age where he ain't going to grow much bigger, is he?
Peter Shilton, many years ago, we had Brian Horn. He was a really small goalkeeper, and he was excellent, mate.
But also, again, we talk about characteristics in the change room, don't we? You could be the greatest player, but if you're a dickhead and you disrupt the change room, that's not going to be good. And I met Evans a couple of times, George. I met him in Spain last year, and I tell you what, a top young man. If he was my son, I'd be very, very proud of him. The way he conducts himself, the way he talks, the way he goes about his business. Top individual. And I was so pleased to see him, get the opportunity to play. And let's be honest, there's lots of players. There's Casillas at Real Madrid. Is it Campos from Mexico years ago? The international goalkeeper. Goalkeepers have not always been big. Look at Schmeichel, Kasper Schmeichel, not particularly big either. If he can kind of, I'm not saying he's got to work on his athleticism, but if he can work on his agility, maybe to kind of get these high balls or ones in the corner, that might be the difference.
He's made some very, very important saves already for us as well. So he's clearly a decent shot stopper.
Exactly.
Joe, go back to that last comment, because that's quite from Simon B. That is true, mate. We need to get a coach, don't we? Yeah.
Yes. Again, in the chat, who would you have as a coach? I would love to have Denzel in there.
I'd love Denzel, mate.
Could you imagine that? I was talking to Ronnie Ball about this the other day, and even he said, he would love that job. Denzel's actually sort of said to them, they've got their own little WhatsApp group apparently, and I think he come out and said that he would love to sort of go back to Millwall and be a goalkeeper coach. I think is he at Reading at the moment as a goalkeeper coach?
I think so, mate. Yeah. But he comes to quite a few Millwall away games, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Denzel, if you're not doing anything, mate, put your CV in and apply for
I
the
don't know.
goalkeeper?
I've heard David Ford,
coach
but I
job.
don't think David Ford is one to be a coach, is he?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think David Ford, from the sounds of it, I think he's going off in a different direction. I think he's talking more
He
about
does like his performance programs, doesn't he?
Yeah, like sports psychology, getting the mindset of players, but that's more his bag. Whereas I think Denzel will love to be on the training pitch, in amongst the group of players.
What about Bart, mate? Bart.
Yeah, but the thing is with Bart, as I'm led to believe, I think he's living out in Spain, isn't he? He's got a new sort of setup there with his family, and I don't think you want to give that up. Yeah, no disrespect to Mill, would come back and live in South Bermondsey when he's got all that going over in the Spanish.
Money talks, mate. Money talks.
It does. And you see, players or coaches sort of move, quite far from their families for the right money. Yeah. So interesting. There's another Denzel one there. But no, we covered that off, which I'm really sort of pleased about. Now, the club has also exercised is option to extend the deals on 3 players: Billy Mitchell, Joe Bryan, and surprisingly, Wes Harding, Angelo. Just want to get your thought. Is that a right move from the club? Billy Mitchell, Joe Bryan, and Wes Harding. Could you back them in their decision on that one?
Yeah, so Billy Mitchell first, right? My son is one of Billy Mitchell's biggest critics, yeah? But even him lately, he started to turn, because Billy started to put in some fucking great performances in, mate, yeah? And, if he carries on, before he got injured, sadly, he was playing superb. If he carries that on, mate, without a shadow of a doubt, mate, I'm happy that Billy's extended. Joe Bryan, one of our best players last season, again, delighted that he's extended. Wes Harding, I'm happy he's extended. I know he is it's going to be 50-50 with the fan base, but again, I've heard he is so important round the group. Again, he's one of them ones. I think Ben was saying it earlier. He's one of the ones that he's the first one to stand on the side and congratulate the players when they come off. Proper team player. Do you know what I mean? I
see him. Where I sit on the kitchen stand right above that dugout, and you're right. Every game he's there, and he'll wait for the last player to come to that tunnel to shake their hand and whatever. See him.
Yeah. Things like that, Joe, they are so important, mate, to have people like that around the club. And listen, every time we call upon him, he doesn't let us down, does he? He doesn't really let us down. So
exactly.
Great utility player. So I'm happy with that. It was a surprise, but I'm happy with all 3, mate.
Yeah, excellent. And Ben, what's your thoughts on those 3? Are you happy with the club's decision to exercise the extension of their contracts for Mitchell, Bryan, and Wes Harding?
Yeah, listen, Billy, I'm his biggest fan. Love Billy Mitchell. I've always thought he would do better in a better football inside than perhaps we've been able to give him at times. I think he's going to flourish under Alex Neil. I think we saw that towards the back end of the season. I'm delighted he's staying. Joe Bryan, again, I think he really improved under Alex Neil. He had a lot of critics, and rightly so. He was either a 10 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10, but he sort of found some consistency, didn't he, towards the back end of the season. The only thing with him is age now, wages, and potential injuries. He does get a niggle or 2 quite a bit, doesn't he? So I'm assuming those extensions are just 1-year extensions. We don't know that. They might be longer for the likes of Billy just because of his age. But, we're assuming they're 1-year extensions. Joe Bryan's experience, though, we've spoken about it a few times tonight, is going to be invaluable. So, really pleased those 2 are staying. I think the Wes Harding one's an interesting one. I get the off-the-field thing with him. He's clearly a great character. He's never seemed to kick up a fuss about not playing. He hasn't let us down, as Angelo said, when he has come into the side. But again, we're thinking about sort of moving on and progressing. Does he tick that box? Probably not. Is he going to get a lot of game time again next year? Probably not. But does it tell us probably about priorities in terms of where we're going to be signing or looking to add? He's going to be...
Or the other way, Ben, where we're not going to add, because now that makes 3 right backs.
We've got
Leonard.
Yeah.
If we keep Danny Mack and we keep him, do we then go get a 4th right back? We've got Crammer can play there as well. So it does kind of paint a picture, doesn't it, a little bit, Ben?
That's exactly my point, mate. It probably means we're probably not going to be going after a right back now with him, because we then would have 4 if we got 1 in. So listen, fair play to him. But will we extend him just to then get a fee? you never know. He might want to move on. He might want to get some game time as well. So, but look, all three, happy, mate, happy.
Okay, just want to intervene here very, very quickly. So, just had a message from a reliable source. I'm not going to say who it is, but they can officially say that, regards to Liam Roberts, he was actually injured. Apparently, he picked it up in training after the Sheffield United game. So there was any doubts there whether it's true or not. Apparently, it was true. So I can only guess that if he was fit to play, he would have played. So that's I can't say who that's from, but it's a very, very reliable source. So
love it. Breaking news. Love it.
Well, that's it. Well, fans listening in, you can take that and that kind of erase any conspiracies or doubts as to whether he was fit to play or not. So he was definitely injured, and that's the reason why he didn't play. So my take on Billy Mitchell, Joe Bryant, Wes Harding, I love it. I think Billy Mitchell, towards the end of the season, he reminded us of how a good a player he is and how important he is. And he's still quite young. I'm pretty sure he's like 23, 24 years of age. People forget that. He's been there such a long time, played so many games. We all think like he's 26 or 27 or 28 years old. I don't think he's as old as that. He's still quite young. And his performances has been brilliant because people were talking about Casper De Norre in the kind of final third of the season, how good he was and, dominating midfield. And then Billy Mitchell come in, and I would say he probably surpassed Casper performances the last few games. And that takes a lot to take the shine off one of your best players like that. So full credit to Billy Mitchell. And I think it took him a long time to get that fitness levels up. And he needed games to do that. But he did do that, and I think he come through really well at the end for us. So I just hope and pray that he starts next season the way he ended last season. So I'm really, really pleased with that one. Joe Bryant, again, loved him. I thought last season was probably best season for us in the Millwall shirt. Where he done big work, in rehab, in the summer, regards to, I think he had a groin strain or some kind of problems or something, which he might have got fixed. I don't know, but he did feel a lot better. His all-round play was great. I think he looked quality. He finally kind of showed us the player that we thought he would be when he joined us. I'm really sort of pleased for him. And Wes, where he's been called upon, very rarely does he let us down. I wouldn't want to see him play week in, week out. I think there's better players we could pick from. But whenever he's called upon, he never lets us down. And that goal against Palace will live long in my memory as well. So for that reason, I'm really pleased that he's staying. Moving forward, guys, and I guess we'll come to yourself first, Angelo. There's 4 players that are on loan that have gone back to their parent clubs: Josh Coburn, Zach Surge, Ryan Wintle, and Callum Scanlon. Just want to get your thoughts on those 4 players, Angelo. Obviously, Alex Neil came out early this season and made no disguise the fact that he liked Coburn. He wanted to sign Josh Coburn. I think when the press asked Michael Carrick about it, he just said that he was pleased that he's getting games and playing well, but he was non-committal. He didn't actually come out and say we want to keep him. So what's your thoughts on those 4, starting with Josh Coburn?
Joe, just before I talk about that, right? Do we know if Danny Mack is going to be fit for pre-season? Like, do we know that, or is his injury going to carry on into?
It's a good point. I've got no idea. Huh? I've got no idea, but I know these knee injuries take a long time because it's not just getting the knee, back to normal, but it's the strengthening, it's the rehab, it's the physio that they've got the fitness level. So I've got no idea. I really haven't.
Yeah, right. So on the 4 loans that have gone back to their clubs, Wintle, obviously, there's no point getting him back. He didn't really contribute a lot. Scanlon, I'll do Josh Coburn last. So Scanlon, I liked him, mate. Unfortunately, he suffered with injuries, didn't he? So could we go back and loan him again? Maybe, but his injury for a young guy to get 2 serious injuries is a bit concerning, isn't it? So I'm not too fussed on that one. Zach Sturge, I loved him, mate. I loved him, and he looked like he was getting better and better and better. If we can sign him, I've heard rumours his contract's coming to an end at Chelsea. It also looked like he was enjoying himself. He looked like he fitted into the group pretty well. I would try and sign Zach Sturge and Josh Coburn. Yes, he missed the sitter in the last game that we're all disappointed about. But again, this is a young guy.
It happens to the best of us, Angelo.
Yeah, Joe.
What can I say? We can't be prolific every fucking game, can we? Let's be honest,
His one wasn't as bad as yours, mate. Right.
Oh, fucking hell.
He wasn't standing on the goal line, Joe. He wasn't standing on the goal line.
Listen, it was the velocity of the ball spinning in an aggressive.
Mate, you could have blagged that. You could have said you was the defender and you were clearing it over the bar.
I know. There's too many people there that day, Angelo. If it was just me playing headers and volleys, then I could have got away with that one. But that would be quite a tricky one to get away with. Yeah.
So my view on Josh Coburn, I still believe he's young. He's still learning. I would go and sign him, mate. I would, because I just think he's the type of striker that can do a bit of everything. He's tall. He's a bit more aggressive than the Serb. I would go and sign him, mate. I would gamble on Josh Coburn.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. And cheers to that, Angelo. Ben, just love to get your thoughts, just to remind you of those 4 players that have gone back. So it's Josh Coburn, Zach Sturge, Ryan Wintle, and of course Callum Scanlon as well. So I'll have to get your thoughts on those 4.
Yeah, agree with Angelo on Wintle and Scanlon. Wintle, I just don't think there's any point, as Angelo said. Scanlon looked like there's a real player in there. Again, wish him all the best with his recovery. Looked like he was going to be a decent player for us, didn't he? He was excellent in that first 25, 30 minutes against Luton before he got injured. So, listen, I would... He's the sort of player I would look to try and sign. He's clearly not going to make it at Liverpool, is he?
No.
But would be just injuries would be my only concern there. Sturge, again, if the rumours are true that he's out of contract at Chelsea and they're going to release him, would definitely be going after him. Was impressed with him. Coburn.
Ben, just go back to Scanlon again. So we've got our Scouse Millwall fan, Billy Smith, just saying Scanlon's a baller. Seen him in loads for Liverpool under 18s, under 21s, bring him back on loan.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I guess that depends on, like you say, on Sturge, doesn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose if we sign Sturge on a permanent, would we look to get Scanlon in as well? Don't know. Coburn is a real 50-50 for me, and I'm going to say it would be price dependent. Again, he's clearly struggling a bit with injuries. Where does he fit in? Will Alex Neil have maybe a slightly different opinion about what sort of striker he wants next to Ivanovic? Don't know. Was he using Coburn because he just had him there at the time? Will we go out and try and sign another striker? All those questions obviously will be answered. But, price dependent for me. And I don't know what that price point would be.
The rumours I've heard, again, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm hearing that as much as Coburn loved his time playing for Millwall, I think he's a homeboy, isn't he? And I'm hearing that he doesn't really want to live down here. I think he loves it in the northeast. He's got his family, he's very close to. He's got his friends, he's very, very close to as well. And I think perhaps he saw this as an opportunity to play first team football with his mindset to go back, to Borough and break it into the team. But I guess if Carrick has a difficult conversation with us, and listen, you're not going to be here, we don't want you, we're going to sell you, I guess he might have to start thinking about moving away and stuff like that. But I get the impression that as much as we want him, and I think Alex Neil's a big fan of his, I think he was always a little bit unsure because of that big commitment. It's a long way to move for a young player as well. So I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I don't know if you guys have had a look or know how many goals did he score for us last year?
Coburn?
Yeah, in the league.
If we had Stato Stephen here, he would tell us right away, wouldn't he?
Well, I know that's why I've asked the question. So, what do you reckon he got?
I'll go 6.
Joe,
I'll go for 7.
We got 5. Do we think that's enough?
But then you look at the goal to game ratio. I mean, how many games did he play? He played less than Ivanovic, didn't he?
Called into transfer market. That was in 22 appearances.
Yeah, so 5 of 22, that's roughly 1 in 4, which is not great, but it's not terrible either, is it, I suppose? What's Langstaff goal ratio like?
Let's have a look.
But yeah, Andrew, just while I got you, I know with Coburn that there's a lot of love from the players. That again, a bit like Honeyman, and Watmore as well. They all love it. And that says a lot about a player. And we talk about this, what we don't see off the pitch. And that's also very important. I think managers see that as well because they want good eggs in their squad. They want, good characters to kind of build with. And I guess the hard thing is it's always going to be difficult to try and find somebody that's going to, be here for the right reason, and they've got to be here as much as we want them to be here as well, I guess.
But Joe, whether he wants to go back and live up north or wherever, if he ain't going to get a game up there, he's got no choice but not to move away. Do you know what I mean, mate? At the end of the day, being a professional footballer, you've got to go where you can go and play. So. I've seen an interview with him where he said he loves it in London. Him and his girlfriend, love going into town and whatever. So, and he's still young. Right, I know what Ben said. He's only scored 5 goals. He will get better and better and better, I think.
Yeah. Would you say that he complements Ivanovic, in that front two? I mean, when we've gone to the two with Koba and Ivanovic, do we see a different type of player from Mihailo? Does it allow Mihailo to play a bit more?
Like that chance he made for that cross he done at Sheffield United for Mihailo that he took first time. Do you know what I mean? Like there's been a bit of connection between the two, So I'd try and buy him. But like Ben said, you've got to be reasonable with how much we're going to pay. You can't be paying 4s and 5 millions for him. Like that's a no-go, Maybe 1.5 to 3 maybe, but.
Which I think is what they originally wanted. I think they kind of want 3 or 4 million. Well, I think is it around 4 million, or even that's quite a lot.
I think that's punchy for me. I mean, I was thinking in my head, I'm thinking 2 tops. If there's anything more than that, I'm not sure.
Yeah. But also, again, I mean, at the beginning we were saying, is he injury prone? I mean, I think he had one injury, which was a muscle injury, and then he kind of broke his foot. Now, that could happen to anyone, couldn't it? That doesn't strike me as somebody who's injury prone. And after that was sorted, he seemed pretty good. He seemed pretty fit. He was playing regularly after that. He's still young. So again, this module that Mill will have at the moment, where we buy young players and we sell them on for profit, could he fit, Angelo and Ben? Could he fit into that module? Is it worth us spending a bit of money on him, developing for a couple of years, and then moving on for a high profit? Could that work with
the only argument I would have with Josh Coburn is he's never going to play in the Premier League because he's not quick enough. He's never going to play in the Premier League. So who are we going to sell him to?
Top championship club, maybe?
Teddy Sheringham was slow, mate.
Yeah, but Angelo, that was 20 years ago, wasn't it? Everyone now.
Football's evolved a bit since then, Angelo.
No, it wasn't. That wasn't taking a pit. It just hasn't. Everyone's athletic first now, and you're a footballer after. Everyone's got pace. I don't see us selling him to a Premier League side, in my honest opinion. I don't see that in him.
But Ben, can he get us in the playoffs? That's the thing.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. That's the more important thing, because obviously when we go into the Premier League, then obviously we're going to buy a better quality striker.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, does the attraction for Coburn lie that he has found his feet under Alex Neil? Alex Neil did get the best out of him as well a little bit, when he played under Alex Neil. Surely there must be an attraction there for him to think, I'm going to get regular football down at Millwall. I'm not going to get it at Middlesbrough where I am at the moment. He knows a lot of the players, so that's comforting for him to know that he knows a squad there as well. Surely there's more pros than cons there, I'd imagine there.
Yeah, I'm still, I think, right price, mate, for me. It has to be the right price.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, then. So that's it. I think we kind of wrapped up those 4 loan players. What we're saying is we want Coburn back, we want Sturge back, but not necessarily Wintle or Scanlon.
Scanlon 50-50, mate. There's a player there, but it's the injuries, yeah.
Yeah, okay. No worries. Moving on to loan players that have come back. Ben, I'll start with you this time. I want to get your thoughts on Adam Mayer, who it looks like he done pretty well, but as a left back was it Bromley he went to?
Yeah.
And almost kind of reinvent himself there as a left back, done fantastically well there. Kamal Grant, which I've liked. I've always liked Kamal Grant. I think he's been a very good player. If funny enough, I always put Okoli slightly ahead of Kamal Grant. And what's interesting is that Okoli's been let go, and they extended another year on Kamal Grant. So that's an interesting one. And of course, the return of Kevin Nisbet, Ben. So I don't know which way you want to start off. I know you're leaving Nisbet to the end. Maybe start Nisbet at the end. Let's start with Adam Mayer, then Kamal Grant, and then Nisbet. I'd love to get your thoughts on those three.
Yeah, mate, I need to shoot after these three. So I'll do these ones.
Okay.
Adam Mayer, again, I'm pretty sure, Angelo, we spoke about Adam Mayer in our transfer show. I'm a huge fan of his. He was obviously excellent at Morecambe, right? I think he looked decent for me. No, I know he was only very, very bit part when we saw him at the back end of last season. He was still in this season. With Harris, I also said he's 100% going to be a left back when he comes back for us. I think that's going to be his position. I'm keen to give him an opportunity. I would like to see him in and around the squad. I don't know how he's got on at Bromley. I'll take it for what the guys in the comments are saying. Seem to have done all right. But, yeah, I'd love to see him at left back. I'd love to see him in and around the squad. For me, please, he's coming back.
I was talking to a player about Adam Mayer, who was playing the under-21s at the time with Adam Mayer. And he said, this is before he got the move to Bromley, that he was by far the best player on the pitch. And this was him playing at left back. And this was just before he got the loan move. And it just shows you, if players start talking, and there's no one better than a teammate or an opposition player to give that kind of accolade, because they obviously play, they know how good they are. Again, does that give us a good problem? Do we keep Joe Bryan? Maybe we don't go for Sturge. We don't go for Scanlon because we've got Adam Mayer, Angelo coming through. I don't know how your thoughts are on that setup, that situation.
Yeah, I just haven't seen enough of him, Joe. So, let's bring him back. Let's give him an opportunity. Let's have a look at him. Let Alex Neil work with him. I'm more than that. I know that Ben's a big fan. Let's give the kid a go, mate. Yeah. Grant, I think, lost his place towards the end of the season at Bromley, I think.
Did he? I think he played a lot of games. I know they're playing in League Two, didn't they? They got promoted. It was their first season in League Two. And I think for him, it wasn't a big step up, but it was in the case of where he came from, played for them previously in loan, then going up to League Two. But he played, I think, about 40 games for them. So where he lost it rightly, I'm not quite sure. But I know he did play quite regularly for them and seemed like done reasonably well. Whether that warrants an extension on his contract, who knows? But I think he's still quite young. And I love he's quick as well. He's pretty good in the air. He's aggressive. And maybe they're looking at him as someone who, I'm not saying he's of a Tanganga kind of sort of type of player, but we see how effective it is to have agile, fast defenders in that back line. So maybe they think he could be one worth taking a punt on. Hence the reason why they extend the contract, Angelo. Yeah,
maybe, mate. Again, let's have a look at Grant. Let's have a look at Mayer. Nisbet, I
want to get your thoughts, both of you guys, on Nisbet situation. I'd love to get your thoughts. So again, guys in the chat, put in the chat, would you want to see Nisbet back next season? Scored 14 goals, I think he scored in, and 5 assists or something. How many appearances? He actually got Aberdeen Player of the Year as well last season. They absolutely love it, I'm sure.
Which is really weird because there was a few months they were all slagging him off up there. So
at the beginning they were, weren't they? At the very beginning, I think. You're right.
Me personally, Joe, if it was down to me, I'd cash in and sell him to Aberdeen, mate. That's what I would do. I just don't think I've heard a few things, mate. Obviously, I can't go into, but not for me, mate. And again, it's a bit of the Aaron Connolly thing. I think it's more the problems upstairs than downstairs, So I would cash in and sell him to
I get that. Angelo, Grant got injured apparently, Tommy says. You're right. He did miss a few games. You're right there. Ben, just want to get your thoughts on Nisbet. Would you want to see him back?
No, not for me, mate.
No,
no interest. Don't he could have scored 1,000 goals for Aberdeen this year? No interest, mate. Listen, he clearly had an attitude problem, didn't he? He didn't want to be down there. I know we were struggling, but not for me. I'm with Angelo. If Aberdeen want to give us a $5 for him, send him up the road, get rid of him. That's me. Mate, I've got to go. I've got to put a little one to bed. So
okay, mate. Listen, cheers for joining us, Ben. Take care. See you soon, mate. See you soon.
Bye.
Angelo, for myself,
Sorry, Joe, I've got to go, mate. Joe, I've got to go. No, I'm here to you, Joe. I'm here to the end, mate. I'm here to the end, mate.
Yeah, I know you are, mate. I know this might sound a bit. I would love to see Nisbet back. I want to get Alex Neil to give Alex Neil the opportunity to try and make him, a good player for us. I think he's got his locker. Is that, I don't know, everything just sort of feels like it's right. It's that Scottish connection. Can he sort of do the Coburn sort of job for us? I mean, we've seen him reasonably good as a target man, winning headers and being quite strong on the ball. He's definitely got an eye for a goal. I remember talking to Sav a couple of years ago, and he said by far he's the best finisher in training. That's when they had Obafemi and Fleming and all the rest of it. And he said he is by far the best finisher technically in training. And I just think if we get his mind right and get him right, I think he could be a great player. If we go for the 4-4-2 and we partner him and Ivanovic up front together, who knows,
Yeah, I really, with Nisbet, I literally, it sounds horrible. I don't care. I don't care if he goes. I don't care if he stays.
Why though? Why?
Because
why?
Because he looked lazy to me, Joe, when he was here last time, mate. He looked really lazy.
But he wasn't fit, was he? He wasn't fit. At the start of the season, he didn't look fit. He was in and out.
There was
disciplinaries. I think Harris didn't play him much. He might come the last 5-10 minutes. I guess if you're not getting any love your way, I'm not saying every player should do this, and not a lot of players do it, but some, I can understand their reasoning by not being committed to the cause and thinking, well, fuck you. If you're not going to play me, you don't want me. Why should I care? But you can see a difference of what's happened at Aberdeen. Where they've obviously the good man management, what you want to call it, they got the best out of him. Now, could that just be because he's in Scotland and he's at home and he's happy, and maybe he didn't quite like it down in London? But from what I've heard, he actually quite enjoyed his time down in London. Probably. Too much. Maybe too much. I don't know. But again, I'd just love to give Alex Neil the opportunity to work with him. And there you go, Ben de Beaver. I agree with that.
I understand there's a lot of these Scots and Scots. Do you know what I mean? Scottish and Scottish. But
yeah.
Listen,
I remember watching him. I know it's only pre-season. It's only a friendly. It was against Sutton. And I'm pretty sure he scored 2 goals that game. He scored one. It was a free kick.
Yeah.
Honestly, he looked like, I don't know, unbelievable. He looked levels above anyone else on that pitch that day. I was quite excited for the season before last, but it just didn't quite materialise, unfortunately, for us. But again, just give that one opportunity. He's got a year left in his contract, I think. It'd be good to see what we can do with him. I don't know. Do you agree or not agree?
It'd be interesting, mate. It'd be interesting, Joe. If it was my decision, I would steer more to try and sell him. But listen, if he stays, mate, let's see. Let's give him another go. Everyone deserves a second chance, mate. So, could Alex Neil work his magic on him? Possibly, mate.
Well, everything else he seems to have touched has turned to gold, hasn't it? So, again, give him the opportunity, and it'd be interesting to see what he can do with him. But I'll be intrigued to find out how that goes. So that's it. We touched on that. Just want to end it off, Andrew, on the youngsters. Yeah. So there's a few players out. Now, a lot of these under-21 players have been released. It's a real shame because you think about how well they've done in, I'm not quite sure what they call the league format for the under-21s. It's like, is it called the playoff league or something they call it, or something along those lines? But I think they've won it for the last two years in a trot. And the players that have been released, the likes of Chinakoli, who, again, I had really high hopes for. I thought he might break to the first team one day. Shamar Lawson, which I thought was a really good player. Didn't really get the opportunity to play for us much. But I loved his style in midfield, very, very combative and aggressive. And, he looked like a real solid player. Kyle Smith, who I think was a right winger, then got reverted to a right back, but very good set pieces. Technically a very good player, athletic, quick as well. He's been let go. Henry Hearn, again, a talented player. Tom Leahy, someone who loves scoring goals, and has done very well for the under-21s and did pretty well when he went out on loan to I'm not sure he went on loan too now. Went to
He's just finished off in Maidstone because I think they lost the playoff semi-final or final. Yeah,
that's it, exactly. So again, surprised to sort of see him go. And then the biggest shock for me was seeing Malachi.
I think that's the one that shocked everyone, Joe. That one, mate.
Oh, I say when I watched him play for the under-21s, and whenever he sort of come in, he looked such a exciting. He was talking, the need to have an attacking fullback, and he was so good, so well. And I was there in Spain when he actually got injured when he done his knee in, and it's such a shame. That's the last time we sort of saw him representing our first team, and it's a shame because that was roughly about a year ago to now. You can say it was in July, less than a year ago. And he has come back. I think he has played 1 or 2 games for the under-21s before the season ended. But clearly they didn't want to keep him for whatever reason. And again, I'm not quite sure why that is. Is that because they might have Sturge or Scanlon in the background coming through and therefore they didn't need a third fullback? We don't know, do we?
Yeah.
But I would love to have kept him and then send him out on loan for a year and just see what he does, give him an opportunity. But what do you make of those players I just mentioned there?
Out of them players there, Joe, the ones that really stand out to me, Connolly was, for years that people were talking about him, leadership qualities. He was a captain as well. I think someone put in the chat, it's called the Development League. So he was captain of the team. That Carl Smith guy, I heard that he scores quite a lot of free kicks, mate, and I was quite hopeful of him as well. Leahy was banging in some goals. There was a guy called Hayward as well, a striker. He was banging in goals left, right, and centre. But I agree with you. The big shock is the Nino one. So I can only imagine that they're just not happy with how he's recovered from his injury. The thing is, mate, our under-21 team has been doing fantastically well. But mate, it's like, to become a professional footballer, mate, it's like, what is it, 1 in a fucking million? I don't know what the odds are, mate. A lot of these players, sadly, are just not going to make it, although they're good at their level, And we have to trust the process. We have to trust that Gallen and Robinson, Nugent, Robinson and Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald, John asked the question there, Angela. Who decides the kids stay or go? A great point, because I wonder how much does Alex Neil actually see of the young players, or is he led by the likes of Nugent, Fitzgerald, and Gallen, who might see more of them? I'm not quite sure how that works out.
Yeah, I would hope they all sit around a table, all of them, and make a joint decision, amongst them all. But I have heard that Alex Neil is addicted to football. Every spare moment he's got, he goes and watches a game. Whether it's an opponent, whether it's our youngsters, he's always at a game. So I would imagine he would have looked at a lot of these players himself, mate. And Joe, a lot of these games are at our training ground. So if Alex Neil's there, he's going to watch it, innit? There's no two ways about it. But,
I'm sure he, whether he's there for the whole 90 minutes, Mark, I'm sure he would be there to sort of see them play. Which is very interesting.
Yeah, obviously I've not seen all these players all the time, but the one that surprised me was the Nino one, mate.
Dato just says that Alex Neil watches the under-21 games apparently.
He watches everything, mate.
Yeah, and also Billy Smith just said here, me and my daughter went to Wigan to watch Millwall under-23s a few weeks ago. Alfie Massey stood out by a mile with the only Millwall there. So interesting, but obviously. We wish those guys well. Great kids. Shame it didn't work out for us here, but hopefully it works out for them elsewhere. And you like to think that the experience they had here for the last sort of 2, 3, 4 years, some of these kids has done them the world of good in their development. That hopefully could give them a contract elsewhere. A bit of luck. Players from the under-21 setups who have their contracts exercise are Kamal Grant, we discussed earlier, Frankie Baker, who has been bagging in the goals for the under-21s, and again, I'm hearing he's a really good kid from good stock, good family background, so I'm pleased for him as well. Jaden Celestine Charles, double barrel surname, he looks like a unit. I've seen him a few times, I've only seen him, but he looks quality. Ben Drake, Jet Dyer, Jack Howland, and of course Rafiq Lamptey, who is quality.
His brother plays for Brighton, doesn't he? His brother plays for Brighton.
I think it is. Yeah, he's a fullback, isn't he? Whereas I think Lamptey's more a midfielder from the sounds of it. But again, I'm hearing he's a great kid. Great attitude, and a lot of players seem to like him as well. So, could these players be the next crop of lads to break through to the first team? Who knows? But they're definitely heading in the right direction at the moment. They're doing all the right things. Any thoughts on those players, Angelo? Anything you want to add to those?
I've heard from 2 or 3 different people. The guy to watch out for, right, is Howland. He's a ginger midfielder. Yes, silky on the ball. Apparently, he is. Like how you was really excited about Bangura Williams.
Yeah.
I know a few guys that are so excited.
Is he the one that's got number 7 on his? Is he playing number 7 on his back?
I don't know, mate.
I've seen him play. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. I watched him before, Howland, and he looks quality. He's a winger, very comfortable with the ball, quite direct, both feet, left foot, right foot, able to create stuff. He looks
I was told he was an attacking midfielder.
I'm pretty sure he plays either on the left, he sort of cuts in on his right foot. And sometimes you might see him on the right cutting in, but he's definitely an attacking player, and he likes to run with the ball, likes to dribble the ball, very creative, got an eye for a goal as well. Again, guys in the chat, if you know him, if it's the same person I'm thinking of, then let us know. But it's interesting to see how that one. Also, George Beaumont, good player as well. He's somebody who for the under 18s that has stepped up, and he looks like he'd be a good player for us in the future as well. So again, lots of talents there, lots of players offered new deals. So it's sad to see certain players leave. I like to think that the club know more than we do, and they're making the right decisions, both for them and the players and the club going forward. So that's pretty much it now, Angelo. Is there? I don't know if there's anything else we need to add on there. Anything we forgot about, have we?
No. I think we've covered it all, Joe, in quite good detail. I think, mate, it's been a good show.
Can I just say happy birthday to Livers? I doubt he's watching this, but it's his birthday today. The club announced it. So happy birthday to Livers.
Dave Livermore, yeah?
Dave Livermore. Yeah.
Joe, did you see Barrett went to Cambridge today?
Yeah, I saw that. So he's going to join up with Harris now as his assistant manager, isn't he? So again, you hear players talk very, very well about Barrett, and coaches sort of say what a top guy he is. So good people like that, you want to see him do well and land somewhere. And hopefully he's found himself a home there with Harris, teaming up with his old colleague. And hopefully that would be a good move for him. I'll never forget Livers. I remember him as a player back in early 2000. He played in the team with lots of Cahill, Eiffels, remember, Harris was a player. And I remember speaking to him after a game once, and I think he had a solid game where he puts in his quality tackle. He used to tackle like scissor tackles,
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Like win the ball like that, and the play used to go up in the air and he just take them out. And I remember sort of just talking to him after the game, just your tackles were absolutely superb. And he was a man of few words, I remember. And he turned around and said to me, "It's the only way I know how to play." He's quite honest and open. He didn't try and make it sound like he's better than what he was. He wanted to say that's his game, And he was a solid player for us. And I think he allowed Cahill to play a push on because he did so much covering work, off the ball defensively, winning tackles. It allowed Tim Cahill to kind of roam forward and get a lot of goals and ultimately getting the move to Everton. So I think if there's anyone that Cahill needs to think, it's probably Livermore.
And Livermore had to win over the fans early doors, mate, because he wasn't the most popular at the start, but he definitely
wasn't.
Won. Nah, he started a bit dodgy, but he definitely win the fans over in the end.
Is that when the fans who sort of have a moan at him, they didn't have a right foot and all that stuff they to say, didn't they? I remember those sort of comments.
He was very one-footed, wasn't he? But yeah, great.
Although I think he did score a screamer with his right foot once, didn't he? I think from memory, on his standing foot. There you go. Dave Turner just said Howland is very, very good.
Yeah.
Apparently he is a winger, Angelo.
Okay, cool.
And Jesper said Jack Howland looks like a tricky good player. So there you go.
Let's hope that he can break through, maybe make the bench a couple of times next season.
Yeah, exactly. Billy Smith said, great show, lads, all the way from the northeast. Thank you. Cheers, Billy, and thank your daughter as well, mate, for the support, and keep supporting the Lions, and let the scouts know who we are I'm sure you'll do it for us. Livers was great for us. Absolutely agree. Did we sign Livers from Arsenal? We did, Alex. And he was actually a centre-back when we signed him. And we converted him to a midfielder, which is interesting. And I think that was by mistake. I think he came on one day as a sub, played centre midfield and done really well there. And I think they kind of kept him there. Ben Dover says, goals, what we need for next season to get into the playoffs and creativity. John, thanks, chaps. Great show as usual. Thanks very much, John. Remember Liverpool getting loads of stick earlier on, but he works his arse off. He did very much so. I would urge everyone to watch the ones if possible. Completely agree. They're exciting group of players. So my daughter always wear a Mill shirt out and about. Good on you, Billy. Good on you, mate. Excellent. So I think that's it, guys. So guys, thank you so much for being with us on the live show. It's good to sort of like real deep dive into that retained list and release list and talk about those players, and really appreciate your comments in the chats. Angelo, thank you as always, mate, for giving your time so generously and all the information and all the research and prep that goes into putting these shows out. Because again, we say it, we work very hard. We don't just sort of turn it on and go right there. We're going to freestyle this. We do spend hours, preparing for these shows and putting all this stuff together. We do it for the Millwall fans, of course. And all we ask for in return is to like the show, subscribe. You haven't subscribed already to the YouTube channel, but more importantly, do like and comment, because it does help the show. It helps all the algorithms and all that. So please do that if you haven't done that already. And we bid you a very good night. And until next week, we'll leave you with this, and all the best, and catch you very soon. I want to make sure before I say.
You're going to show your miss before we go, mate.
Well, I've got my goal there as the outro.
Show your miss, mate. Better.
Shall I show the miss? Well, let me try and get that. Mate. You carry on talking while I sort it out for you then.
If you haven't seen this miss, guys, it's one of the best. If anyone ever does like a YouTube of the biggest misses in the world, Joe could make the top 5.
Yeah, I think this is it. So we'll see. Anyway, guys, love you and leave you. All the best. Thank you for being with us tonight, and we'll see you next time. All the best.